Hello Year 9s, we're going to start our new topic of quadratics. Okay, so remember what quadratics mean. I'm going to change my pen because it's too thick. Alright, so remember quadratics, quadratum is just the Latin word for square. So remember when we talk about the highest power. So if it's a quadratic, the highest power must be 2. Okay? Highest power is 2. So if we have x squared, so that's why we call it quadratic, because it's just the Latin word for squared, x squared plus 3x plus 2, that is a quadratic because the highest power is a 2. If I give you x squared plus 3x cubed plus 1, this is not, because yes, it has a squared, but it also has a cubed. So we don't want that, so this is not a quadratic. If I give you something that looks like this, 2x plus 3x plus 4. This is not a quadratic because there is no squared in there, okay? But if I just give you x squared plus 1, that is a quadratic because it has a squared, alright? That's how you tell whether it's a quadratic equation or not. So we're going to have a go at graphing a quadratic. Now, it's pretty easy because it's exactly the same as graphing a linear equation. Now, I know we don't like graphing because it's time consuming, but at least we know how to do it. So the first thing we're going to do is draw up a table of values, okay? And then you plot your dots, and you just join the dots. It's just that easy. Table of values. Okay. So we're going to have a go at doing that. Oh gosh, I'm still not very practiced at writing on this. Let's try that again. That is rubbish. And now I think I'm writing in green. Whatever. Why is that rubbing out? Alright, now I've stuffed it up. This is what happens when you don't know how to use it. Okay, let's go back to that. Alright, let's try rubbing it out now. Okay. Alright, so table of values. We're going to draw up a table of values, just like we normally would. Okay? So we're going to have our x and our y column, and then we're just going to make up values for x. Now these can be anything you like. Normally I just sort of put in a couple of negatives and a couple of positives because it makes for a nice balance. But you can really put in any numbers you want. So let's try -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Forget that one. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's say I give you this. 2x squared plus 1. Okay? All we're going to do is use our values here to figure out what the numbers should be. So instead of x, we're going to use whatever is in this box here. So the first time we'll use -2. So -2 squared is 4. Because remember that two negatives cancel each other out and make a positive. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Alright, makes sense? So -1 squared is just 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. And -1 times -1 is just +1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Now we've got 0. 0 squared is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Now we've got 1. 1 squared is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Now you can see a pattern emerging. Look at these two, they're the same. And if we use this number here, 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. We can see that there's a pattern. This is the middle, and then these numbers are exactly the same. Now that's why we call it a quadratic, because it's a curvy graph, okay? Let me just quickly go on the bottom over here. If it looks like x squared plus something, so y equals x squared looks like this. That is what the graph will look like. And if we have y equals -x squared, it will look like that. It'll be a frowny face if it's negative and a smiley face if it's positive. So that's why we have a pattern here, because it's going to look like this one, like this first one here. It's going to be a smiley face, okay? So then all we do is draw a graph. Well, actually, let's draw it down here because we don't really have any negative y values, do we? So we don't need this part of the graph. So that sort of makes life a bit easier. It makes you realize which part of the graph to draw. So we're only going to go down to -2 and up to +2, but we need to go all the way up to +9. But we don't need to do any negative y values at all. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then here we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect, because we only need 9 numbers, don't we? But a quadratic will go on forever. This is just what we've chosen to do. Okay, so our first point is -2 and 9. So we've got a dot there. The next one is -1 and 3. The next one is 0 and 1. Remember, the x point always goes first, so we always talk about if we're going to read a set of values, we always read x then y. The next one is 1 and 3. See the pattern. And the next one is 2 and 9. So we have a nice smiley face. Then all we do is join the dots. Now, try and make it curved. Don't make it like a V, because it's not. It's meant to be a nice, gentle U. And these lines keep going on forever. It's just this is the section of the graph we're drawing. It's called a parabola, okay? A parabola. That's what we call the curvy graph. Instead of saying curvy graph, because that makes you sound like you're 5, we use the maths word, which is parabola, okay? And that just means one of these type of graphs, and they go on forever. That's what it means. Yeah, so this is how you plot a table of values. This is just how you plot a quadratic. It's exactly the same as plotting a linear graph, except this time it's going to look curvy. So look for the minimum, look for the middle point, and that'll tell you where the graph turns, and we'll talk a bit about more what that means later. But for now, that is how you draw a quadratic graph.